Good morning, Sisters for Selfcare. It is October the 29th. It is October the 29th, 2014. It's Wednesday. Every single Wednesday we have a Sisters for Selfcare call. I've been doing this call almost 4 years now. God is so good for giving me his assignment, and I'm so grateful to be able to fulfill it. For those of you who are joining the call for the very first time, Sisters for Selfcare is an organization that empowers women to honor their self-worth and value their self-care. These are women that may have gone through domestic violence, depression, divorce, or some type of disease or dis-ease. And so that's a conglomeration of many of us. And so God gave me the assignment to just continue to empower, to share, and to invite. And that's exactly what I've been doing all these years, whether there's 2 people on the line or 1,000 people on the line. As long as I'm doing what steps have been ordered for me to help others, I can dance with amazing choreography. So let's start with the word for the day. The word for the day is coping, C-O-P-I-N-G. It says, the Lord helps the fallen and lifts those bent beneath their loads. The Lord helps the fallen and lifts those bent beneath their loads, Psalms 145:14. It says, life is stressful. Every day new challenges and pressures come your way. Hard times are inevitable. Sometimes you wonder how you can cope with it all. You can't control your circumstances, but you can control how you respond to them and whom you go for help. You need the proper perspective to cope with life. God encourages you not to run away from your problems or try to escape them, but to work through them. Then you will come out stronger on the other side. Through it all, God offers strength and wisdom that you cannot find anywhere else. How you respond to the challenges of life, including how much you rely on God, determines how well you cope. Woo, if this word isn't profound for today, coping. You know, it's always in alignment what we share every Wednesday morning. And I want to introduce you all and present to others my friend. He is my friend now, I guess, of 3 years, going on 3 years, Mr. Harris. Yeah. And just for you being on the call today, you're going to be gifted. You and your wife are going to get a gift from me. It's going to be a Be Brave, Think Pink Trio solid perfume set. Now, you may not really wear those, but your wife can. And that trio set represents breast cancer awareness, domestic violence, and heart disease. And those are 3 specific diseases that I focus on with Sisters for Selfcare, and the CEO of Soul Purpose, Nadine Abraham Thompson, created this trio set because I had called her and I said, I'm really, really passionate about doing something with domestic violence awareness, especially since this Ray Rice thing had come up. And she said, I'm already working on something. So you're going to be gifted that. As most of you know on the line, I'm a licensed wellness coach, and I endorse Longevity and Soul Purpose, which are 2 prestigious companies that marry one another, and it promotes nothing but natural and organic healing and wellness for people across the world and the country. And so let me introduce my friend to you all and business partner. I had the opportunity of meeting Mr. Harris through another mutual friend, and we started a Chamber of Commerce together. Actually, we opened up a chapter here in South Florida called the Home-Based Business Chamber of Commerce, and was able to just recently meet his wife after all these years. He's been talking about both of us to one another, and when we met, it was just kindred spirits. So Edward D. Harris III is the founder and CEO of 3T's Affordable Properties, a real estate investment company that handles all your real estate needs. Edward established 3T's in 2009 when he resigned from the Public Health Trust after 25 years with the entity. His passion is helping individuals that are going through hardships with their homes. He's an advocate, a loyal member of IT African Methodist Church, He has a talent for speaking to young adults that are headed down the wrong path. He's a self-taught expert in wholesale investing and social media, and his team of entrepreneurs help him reach all of his clients' needs. He was born and raised in Miami, Florida, a graduate of Miami Norland Senior High class of 1985. Don't tell your age, bro. That's beautiful. After 2 years of college at Morris Brown in Atlanta, he now resides here in Miami, Florida, with his lovely wife, Odalis Harris, who is a makeup artist. And he has 4 adult children, or kids now, or 4 adult kids. I guess that's what we say. They're adults, but they're still your kids. And you have 3 grandkids. And so if anybody's interested in getting in touch with Edward after the call, or if you have any investment questions, he can be reached at greatprops, P-R-O-P-S, greatprops@yahoo.com. Hi, my friend.
Hey, Terry, what's going on?
I'm so grateful to have you on the call. Me too.
Oh, yeah.
I really am.
Yeah.
First of all, I want to just tell you I love you, and I think you have an awesome story and a lovely family, and I'm just ready for you to share your story. So I'm just going to let you flow, Ed. I just want you to really talk about your first instance or awareness of domestic violence, how you reacted to it. Just take us down the path, and if I have any questions, I'll interrupt and ask you, and we'll go. And then if there's any questions that anybody has, please send me a text message to 954-856-6575. Go ahead, Ed.
Okay. Yes. Hello, everyone, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to give it back to Terry Jackson, of course. I think she's a phenomenal woman for what she's doing. I know God has a plan for her. That's why she's on this call and putting these plans together. Let me start with a little about myself. Like I said, I'm Edward Dave Harris III. I'm a 60s baby, well, born in the 60s. In the 70s, as you know, back in those days, we were physically abused, and they didn't call it that. They called it discipline. I watched my dad and my mom go through some real tough times, physically, mentally, verbally. At the time, I'm the only child of Inez and Edward Harris. You know, going through those times, it scared me. You know, I was young, didn't know what to do, couldn't really do anything when I was watching all these things, come about. And I think that's where you get the word of a generational curse, because what you are a product of your environment. You know, watching that go on for years and years of watching my mom take, physical abuse, I guess it kind of got immune to me, but I looked at it from a different point growing up as if, okay, the man is supposed to be the aggressor and the king of his castle. This is how it's supposed to be done. If someone doesn't do what you say, then you come off in an aggressive way. Moving forward, I found myself in relationships where I didn't physically Ray Rice the individual that I was with, but, the tongue is powerful. And what you say out of that tongue is domestic also, because if it came about and something was done and I didn't like it, or something was said to me that I didn't like, I know me. And I know I have some words that come out of my mouth that can physically abuse people, but sometimes you don't even know you're being, you're in a domestic situation. You're looking at it like, well, he just said that he didn't hit me, but those verbal words, leads to more and more like, as I would say, physical abuse. I know my mother stayed in it because she was from the Bahamas. She felt she had no family. And I know a lot of other women probably feel the same way. You want to keep all these things under the rug, per se. But that's dangerous because they can escalate so high. That's why you have so many killings and violent attacks on women. And don't get me wrong, women, you have a mouth on you also, but what I've learned over the years is that it's not what you say, it's how you say it. My last encounter, and I was sharing this with Terry, it was like in, I guess, the 90s. I was coming back from a trip. Me and another good friend of mine, we took our daughters to Disney World, and I'm a kind of neat freak. So I had a friend, a young lady over, who lived in my apartment while I was gone to take care of, all the issues or whatever I had in it. And when we returned from Disney World, I asked I asked my friend, I said, can you come pick me up? She was like, oh, yeah, I'll come pick you up. I said, well, I know you probably partied at my place because I have a lot of music and vice versa, a lot of entertainment in my apartment. She said, yeah, I'll come and get you. I said, okay, well, I know you probably partied. No, everything was cool. And when I got to my apartment, I witnessed cigarettes, buds, and beer cans, and, the whole nine. And I was upset. And I guess the way I came off my tongue and told her to get out of my place, and she was probably embarrassed because I was with another person, she left. But then I remember she had my key. When I went to grab my key from her, and it was nothing that I did physically, like throwing punches or whatever, when I took my key, the jagged parts of it kind of scraped her face on the side. I didn't see it. I didn't notice it. I grabbed my keys. I went back in the house. Like 10 minutes later, my daughter, she was a adolescent at the time, maybe 8, 9 years old. She said, someone's at the door. I tell her, well, get the door. She comes in the room and tells me it's the police. I'm like, what? I go to the door. They ask me all the questions. Do I know this person? Yada, yada, yada. I said, yeah, I do. They asked me to step out the door. And I was being arrested for domestic violence. Now, mind you, I was even telling the cop, sir, I thought from my eyes domestic violence was physically abuse, but I guess it wasn't because she had a scratch on her face. They took me in the car. My daughter's running up and down the hallway, rampantly crying, hollering, screaming. They're taking my daddy to jail, and I'm witnessing all these things. It's like you're witnessing the trauma right before your eyes. But that still didn't do it. What really did it was when my mother came to the scene, I guess she spoke to the young lady. I don't know what was said. She came to my car, and the first thing my mom said was, you witnessed your dad abused me all these years, and I can't believe you'll turn around and do the same thing, and I uphold you, and, and I'm looking like, really? You believe? I mean, you see it. You don't see any mark. Well, I can't say marks, but you don't see any, physical abuse, but you just believe this person. So my first instincts when they took me down and booked me was, you know what? When I get out of here, and I was single at the time, ladies, so don't kill me for it. But when I got out, I was going to take every single young lady I had phone numbers in that book and just dog them out. I was going to be the dog of the universe. And I guess God saw this, and he knew my heart. When I returned out of jail and I spoke to a young lady, God bless her soul, her name is Elizabeth DeSasia, she was like a big sister to me. And she even told me, she was like, Ed, that's not you. Take some time to yourself. Learn yourself. Grow. Get in the Word. But, people can tell you anything. They can lead you to the water, but they can't make you drink it. But I did take her word somewhat, and I kind of backed off of everything and just gave myself some time to heal, because as more as I physically abused, well, not physically abused, but verbally abused people, I felt like, no one understood me also. So moving forward now to this day and age, I have friends that, they come to me now, and it's, they tell me their story, and I'm more of a person now that I kind of understand it, but I had to get a lot of help. Good thing I had moms, aunts, godmothers on my team who really didn't take sides. Even to this day, ladies, I have a beautiful relationship with my wife, but I now know it's not what you say, it's how you say it. And I learned also to go to a neutral corner and not like boxing, but if you feel something is being heated, you take a pause. Because after going down to going to jail, they sent me to a domestic violence class. And, everybody in domestic violence is a one-sided story. And like I was telling the professor, I couldn't wait till he get to me because everybody was telling their side of the story on how the reason they was in there, and I couldn't wait till he got to me because I was letting him know that you're going to see it my way. And after I told my story about my trip from Disney World, he said something to me. He said, well, you was wrong. And I'm looking like, how was I wrong? He said, first and foremost, you was in an unhealthy relationship. He said that wasn't your first time having an altercation like that, but you stayed in there. And I think that's what a lot of people to this day do. They stay in an unhealthy relationship. And what I learned, if I didn't learn anything from that, is we from the natural. We see things in the natural. Men, women, oh, she's fine, or he's tall, he's handsome. But what we fail to realize, if God ain't in it, you're just wasting your time and spinning your wheels. And not everybody's going to be on your potter's wheel, but there's some things that you can do, and there's some things that you can see. And generational curses is real, ladies. It's so real because if you're in it, you don't know. Like they say, when you get with a guy or a guy get with a girl, you're really into it with their whole family. And if their family have a past, until someone breaks that generational curse, you're in turmoil. So my closing is, I have a better perspective on life itself. I went through a lot of things. I didn't go into all parts and formal parts of my domestic challenges, what I caused, and I'm taking all these responsibilities. You have to really know the person you're with, any signs, and God does put signs in our face, any signs that you see, and the person tells you, I'm going to change, I'm going to do better. You have to do better to want better, not just verbally. You have to go and get help, because if you don't know, like I said, it can cause major catastrophe in the long run. But the thing is, you have to put God first. I'm not going to sit here and say it like Steve Harvey said, God ain't finished with me yet, but day by day I'm learning. It's an uphill battle, and I know I'm ahead of this race. And again, I thank you for listening to my story and being here on this call with Terri Jackson, a phenomenal young lady who I love. And any questions, like you said, any comments, I'll be glad to answer them. And thank you for your time.
Wow, Ed, awesome story, and thank you for sharing. First of all, the thing that I take away from this whole thing is you take responsibility for yourself and your actions.
Yeah.
And I coach on this all the time with my clients, because we're human, and you have to take responsibility and be able to know when you're in the wrong. I have some questions. Is you growing up as a young child and seeing your father abuse your mother and discipline, as you say, back then it was called discipline. Today if anybody disciplines, quote unquote, their child, the child can call the police, and the police can come and see what's going on, you know.
Yeah.
Were you angry? Was this something you carried, you know, and this was just a anger? I'm going from trying to understand our men out there that I believe have a history or something that they kept inside, and then all of a sudden it builds up and they lash out. And I just want to know, you growing up seeing that, today, can you say you were angry by that, and that's what led you to go down the path that you were in?
Yes, for somewhat, TJ, because, I mean, being in that environment, you know, at first it's a scared, I guess you can say, like a scared way. But then as time goes on, and, you know, men, we're supposed to be dominant. We're supposed to be, like I said, the king of our castles. I think I held a lot of that in. You know, back in our days, we didn't have, well, we had psychologists and things like that, but, you know, our parents were the psychologists. Hey.
Right.
And no more. So I think I carried a lot of anger in me for that. But then as I grew, instead of turning that around and saying, you know what, this is not what I would want to portray or perceive, or my family or on my friends or my loved ones to be, I turned that into fuel. And it was like, oh, it worked. You know, I watched, you know, the finger pointing and you know, all the explicit cuss words, and like I said, you know, like you said and Pastor said, hurt people.
That's right. And
watching this, you know, I turned it, instead of, like I say, turning it into a positive at that age, I turned it into fuel. And it can happen, and it's easy. It's almost like as if to say, if you grow up in a household of, and you know, like they say, the strong survive. You grow up in a household of alcoholics, and you get a taste of it, and you see it's okay by mom and dad doing it, it's like it becomes a part of you. Not saying that everybody does it, but it's just, like you say, what you see, you are what you see, and, you know, you are what you live around. You're, like you say, a product of your environment.
Right. It's a learned behavior.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. I just commend you, because as a man, to be able to share this and to catch it, you know, and to recognize what was happening, and by you having a daughter or daughters, you know, you recognize that you needed to make a change before it got worse, you know. And and I'm just grateful that you have a relationship with Christ and that you turn to him, you know, to order your steps. And I'm glad now that you're able to speak to young men, youth, you know, young men who are going down the wrong path or maybe experiencing something that you've experienced as a young man, and be able to help them cope through their circumstances so that this built-up disappointment, i.e. anger, i.e. whatever they're holding inside, that you can be that vessel for them to, you know, share and have that outburst, just come through so that the healing can start to happen. Exactly. Because I really believe that a lot of us are hurting, and like you say, we keep it all in. We keep it all in. So as a man, can you just share with us, with the ladies, I know there's maybe some other men on the line, but the signs, you know, what to look for, because see, you were the quote unquote aggressor.
Right.
You know.
Right.
So what are some of the signs? And I know you said the way you say it, because there's a lot of women on this line that have accepted what has been said to them and say, oh, he was just angry at the time, I'm going to let him cool off a little bit, you know. But, you know, what are some of those signs?
Some of those signs are, ladies, controlling. You know, even if you say you're pleasingly plump and they want you to look a certain way, if you don't want to do something, you shouldn't have to, and everything should be compromised. It shouldn't just be a one-way street. Look out for, like you said, the anger signs. Like And it's funny, when I got married, by me going through a lot of, those type of relationships where everything was always verbally resolved or thought it was verbally resolved, I kind of tested my wife just to see, I took her to the highest festivity just to see what type of reaction I was going to get. And when I got one that was more, I can say, conversational, I knew I had that one. But what I used to do, I didn't mean to do it, but it's like you sit back and you're really just supposed to be yourself. Just let things flow. And one thing is coming into the relationship, look out for signs of lying. Look out for change. Like if you do something, you start off a relationship one way, you can grow in it, but always look for those changing patterns. You start out going to the movies, you're courting, on Fridays or Saturdays. You're doing those things because what you're doing, you're building quality time with each other. You're getting to know each other, and you don't never have to stop being friends. But if you notice different patterns or aggression, I cuss you one time, but, I didn't mean it. I was just, look out for those things because they can turn real ugly real fast. And it never should be a controlling environment. Everything should be compromised. I know, some women like surprises. Those are good, but if it's always one-sided, and I talk to the young ladies also because I have daughters, and I let them know, everything from A to Z is almost like they say, telling the game. You have to, like you said, a man is a king, a woman is a queen, and he should always be trying to shine your crown to keep you.
Yes.
And just
yes, I love
things.
it.
Yeah, just those little things, and everything starts off peaches and cream in these relationships. Get some background history. You meet his mom, see if he loves his mom, because 9 times out of 10, some men who love their moms, or if you're in a relationship like me, I have stepkids where I don't like to use that word. See how he is with his kid, because if he's distant from his kid and you love him and you have a kid with him, will make you think he's going to take care of yours if he ain't handling his own business with him, So you have to just, take precaution, move slow. You don't have to rush into everything. Rome wasn't built in a day. And, yeah, those signs, they're out there. And I used to tell, like I said, my daughter's the same thing. I got grandkids, 3. Fortunately, they was from guys, single guys, who she thought was the right ones, which I thought was the right one, the first one, but it didn't happen that way because, guess he was, quote, unquote, the nice guy. But, ladies, you want that nice guy, trust me, because he sees something in you. He may not be Prince Charming, but he may see some qualities in you that can help bring out some things in you, so kind of tone it down a little, but like I said, for the most part, just look for those signs, ways, speak to some family members, because they'll tell you what you want to hear also, but you also can see what you want to see and don't have on your blinders just because of stature. Yeah.
That's good. I have 2 questions to come through real quick. As a mother of 3 sons who witnessed and suffered abuse in both their father's marriage, how can I best address my eldest son's behaviors in his relationship?
What you can do, for one, you talk to him. And I know you're probably saying you're blue in the face, and it might come from another family member or someone he looks up to, a role model, someone that you know that he listens to. You may can get them to sit with you and speak with him. Because like I said, a lot of us, now in these days, quote unquote, we have that we can get help, and he has to want it. He has to want it for himself, because you can give him all the talking, all the etiquette, all the knowledge, but until he wants it, it's going to be right. But don't leave him by the wayside. Like I said, find someone who he looks up to, or he speaks with if he don't listen to you, and y'all can hash those things out periodically.
Wonderful. Thank you, Ed, so much. And I'm just grateful to have you as a friend, and I'm just grateful for you sharing your honesty. Man of integrity, a man of God who recognized that this wasn't the life he wanted to live, and that he had some things he needed to hash out, to get right. And every day we're all working on ourselves, right? We're all working on ourselves.
That's right. Yes, God. Yes. You never lie.
So I want to invite you to come back on in the future. Is that okay?
Oh, that'll be great. I'll love it. I'll love to. This is what I love.
Wonderful.
This is what I do.
Wonderful. Well, great. Maybe you can lead the Men of Self-Care call. That would be awesome, because I know I would love to have a forum of men, because there was something that you mentioned and we don't have time for, but you said that you wanted to get action out of your wife to see what she was going to say or whatever. And, that's one big thing for me, whether it's positive or negative. Why do men look to get a reaction out of us? And that's something we're going to have to readdress. Because that was something that I dealt with my ex-husband. He did things to get a reaction out of me, and I didn't know he was doing that until actually we were face-to-face in front of a counselor when he said, I do things to get a reaction, which means he wasn't being his true, authentic self, and I felt it was, like, sneaky. So we got to come back to that, because I'm just going to have to, we're going to have to really get in there and invite some more men on and make this an hour call.
The meat and potatoes. Oh, yeah, that's it. I'm with you, TJ. I'm with you.
Make this an hour call. So let me close out with this. It's from Jesus Calling by Sarah Young. And once I'm done reading, the call will be officially over. It is recorded, and I have my other sister for self-care lover. She was our guest a few weeks ago, Dima Hendricks. She did such a great job in downloading the recording. I want to thank her for that until she teaches me how to do it and upload it on our Sisters for Selfcare Facebook page. And Ed, you're more than welcome to join that Sisters for Selfcare Facebook page as well. Okay? It says, linger in my presence a while. Rein in your impulses to plunge into the day's activities. Being your day alone with me is essential preparation for success. A great athlete takes time to prepare himself mentally for the feat ahead of him before he moves a muscle. Similarly, your time of being still in my presence equips you for the day ahead of you. Only I know what will happen to you this day. I have arranged the events you will encounter as you go along your way. If you are not adequately equipped for the journey, you will grow weary and lose heart. Relax with me while I ready you for action. That's from Ephesians 2:10. I know. In Hebrews 12:3. You guys want to hear the recording of a call? Give it 5 minutes. I'm going to give you the number. It's 712-432-1085. So the last 4 digits of the number you just dialed in changed. 712-432-1085. That PIN code is the same that you dialed in this morning, 232-494-pound. 232-494-pound. So I'm going to unmute the call right now, take it out of recording, and you guys can thank Mr. Harris for his words of wisdom and for sharing with us this morning, and the call will be officially over. Hold 1 second.